Good morning. How are you on this fine Sunday? All right. No matter where you are right now, whatever your baseline is, physically, emotionally, mentally, let's bring about some changes, shall we? Beginning with the 4 thumps, of course. These 4 thumps are so foundational for all of us in our energies. That's why it's usually the place that we start. But if you have other exercises that you really, really love and you really feel you get a lot of benefit from, then do more of those. And you can do them in different orders. You don't have to start with the 4 thumps. The next thump is for kidney meridian, about an inch below the middle of your collarbone. Saying hello to kidney, bringing balance here. Great for your grounding, great for hormones, great if you're feeling tired. And there are many other benefits. Eyes, ears. These are some of the examples of areas that the kidney meridian energies relate to. And then the next thump is right in the middle of the chest. It's the thymus thump. Remembering to breathe, helping your energy to move. And then the 4th thump, the spleen meridian. So about halfway down your rib cage. And checking out these 2 locations. How are you feeling today? Are either of them sore, possibly? It's quite common that there might be some soreness around here. So if that's the case for you, then perhaps you might massage first. You could try that, but now if you'd like, or continue tapping if you prefer. So just when you massage, no particular way, whether you're using fingertips or your knuckles, and then the tapping is likely to be less sore, because if there is soreness, that's telling you that there's probably some congestion in the energies. So through massaging, or even some figure eights sometimes, making figure eights over this area can help to loosen up and break up any stuck energy. And then when you tap, it's likely to be more comfortable. Okay, relaxing your arms and noticing how you're feeling from the 4 thumps. And the next exercise we're going to do is the cross crawl. So making sure that the energies are moving from left to right and right to left. Taking it at the pace that's right for you today. Maybe bringing your arms up, seeing what that's like. And have you ever tried tapping somewhere other than your knees? For example, your hips. So still making the back and forth crossing motion, tapping elsewhere. Really boosting your crossovers here. And now, slowing down, we're going to go on to some shoulder pulls. So this is an alternative way you can cross your energies, and both of these ways are excellent. It's not that one is better than the other. You might like to include them both in your daily routine. It's certainly a good idea. Maybe you'll do them at different times of day and find that the cross crawl and the shoulder pulls feel different to you at different times. So just being mindful of that, tuning in now and noticing, how did those shoulder pulls feel? Now let's make sure we are unscrambled. So crossing one of your legs over the other, and then bringing your arms out, palms out, crossing your hands and clasping and coming underneath. And taking several breaths while you hold this position. Noticing how you feel as the moments pass, there's a good chance you may notice a sense of more calm, more ease. You may feel more grounded. That's one of the main benefits of this exercise. And now crossing the other way, so that you're doing the other side of the body with your legs. Your arms can stay the same way, but if you prefer, you could go in the other direction. That might feel better to you. It depends on your energies. And what do you notice as you hold here? Is there anywhere in particular in your body that feels like it's relaxing a little bit? Every time I do a Wayne Cook, every single time I feel the energy change all round my lower back, around here. And there are other things I'm aware of as well, how it feels. It feels calming and grounding. If I'm emotional, very often this will be one of the top exercises that will help me in my energies to calm down. So if you're feeling very emotional, if you're upset about something, feeling quite stressed, maybe overwhelmed, then try this exercise. There's a good chance that holding it for longer as well, taking several minutes, could really change things for you. And for me, because I've noticed that pattern over time, like you may notice in your own energies, that this particular area of my body, it's quite tangible, I can feel it. And because of that, I can actually really tell when I need a Wayne Cook, because I can tune in with my back and feel that it feels a bit scrambled, essentially. It's difficult to put into words, but I share this because hopefully it will inspire you to be aware of these subtle sensations. And you never know where in your body or your energies that you might feel a change. And it can be such a wonderful clue and guidance system for you so that you know what you need in your energies. Let's do the final part of the Wayne Cook now, bringing fingers and thumbs together, resting your thumbs above your nose, taking a breath. And now placing your hands here and sliding over with some pressure, moving that energy over and across, shaking your hands off. Noticing how are you feeling having spent just a little bit longer in that Wayne Cook pose. And now tuning in with your head area before we begin with the crown pull, just noticing all round the head, not just the midline, but also the sides of your head, closer to your ears, and then all at the back of the head. Are you aware of any tension at all? Quite often, actually, people will share with me that they experience headaches at different times. It's fairly common. So how's your head this morning? So with that baseline as you go into the crown pull now, deciding how much pressure you want to use. And going with it all over the top of your head. Doing the speed that feels right for you. Today it feels right for me to do quite a slow and firm crown pull. But some days I would go much quicker. And one of the times that I pretty much always do a crown pull is when I am in the shower, when I am washing my hair. So if you haven't thought of that, there's a little tip for you. It's really easy if you're already shampooing your hair and you're already doing that to do a few stretches, and you can do the sides of the head as well, making space all around the scalp. And then bringing the energy off at the front if you haven't already, one or more times, shaking your hands off and coming to the front again at your forehead and just smoothing, sweeping back and shaking off. This helps to move any more of that old stale energy. And you might notice each time you move your hands and sweep like this, perhaps you may feel a bit lighter, something subtly changes. Sometimes the simplest movements, such as moving away stuck energy like this, can actually make a really big difference overall. in your overall balance and how well everything integrates. We are going to zip up now, so zipping up is all about protecting yourself from outside energies, beginning at your pubic bone, taking a breath in and coming all the way up the middle of your body, breathing out and bringing your arms down. And again, breathing in. You could bring in colour if you like. And as you breathe out, lowering your arms. And typically we would do this about 4 or 5 times. The amount of times to do it would really depend on you and your energies and what you need. So 3 or 4 times is a good guide and a generalisation. For most people, that will be enough to zip you up. But you may be in need of more, possibly, particularly if you feel that you do pick up outside energies a lot. And what you might do is zip up early on in the day to begin your day zipped up, and then maybe at lunchtime you go out for coffee with some friends, and you're going into a little cafe, and you'll be around all different energies there. So maybe you'll just spend a minute or so, or even less, doing a quick zip up before you go in that busy environment. And how is this feeling to you now, taking a bit more time here? Let's go one last time, up central meridian, which ends at the lips. So turning your hands here to lock in that zip up, and then going into the hook up with your middle fingers, pushing in and pulling up, creating that connection in the microcosmic orbit. And when the energy is really flowing, so you are hooked up in the central and governing meridian pathways, people tend to be much more grounded, which means you'll be more able to deal with the throes of daily life, no matter what's going on in each day. You're also less likely to have ups and downs emotionally. You'll be able to think clearer, focus better. The hookup is also quite helpful for things like dizziness, lightheadedness. Let's shake that off and swap over so your arms don't get too tired. So there's a lot of wonderful benefits to the exercise here, and one of the things I'd like to share with you is a bit of anecdotal evidence of the helpfulness of hooking up your energies. And one of my colleagues actually had a wonderful story many years ago when we were learning energy medicine, and she had a very young child, a little girl, and her little girl had a seizure. And as a parent, as a mum, I'm sure you can understand that was a scary experience, particularly the first time anything like that happening. So my friend and colleague did the hookup on her little girl, and after a little bit of time, the seizure stopped. So the hookup is not a guarantee to end a seizure. It's not something that we could promise or guarantee each time, but there is a reasonably good chance that that's what would happen. So it's just a tremendous gift. I could tell you a few other stories and people who've effervesced with gratitude. Thank you, Rachel, so much for this hookup exercise. It's changed my child's life and my family's life. And I always think, well, thank you to Donna Eden, because the hookup is one of Donna's exercises, of course. So let's shake off the arms once again and smooth down. How are you feeling having held the hookup for longer? So if anyone you know in your life has anything like a seizure activity, share the hookup with them and let them know that it's not a guarantee, and it's still important to have the help of doctors, and oftentimes people may use medication. But alongside that, to use energy medicine can just be such a tremendous gift. Okay, we're going to connect heaven and earth now. So bringing your hands into this prayerful position and get ready to make lots of space all around your body. Taking a deep breath in. And when you stretch, noticing where can you feel it? Where does it feel like there's space being created now? Breathing out, coming back to the middle. Do go at your own pace if that feels better for you. You might hold your breath for less time or more time. Doing a second stretch on each side. And then on your final breath out, bending forwards, doing your best to let everything go here so you're totally relaxed. Arms swinging. And do take at least 1 or 2 deep breaths here. You'll really help the energy to move a lot more if you do that. Making a lot more space if you utilise your breath at the same time. And now starting to move from side to side gently. And swinging your arms a bit more so they go into figure eights as you come back up. And we're going to add in some figure eights. So this is not something that you have to do at the end of Connecting Heaven and Earth, but in each day in our challenge, it's just felt right. And indeed, one of the most powerful things a person can do for their energies is bring in more figure eights. And you may want to step in and out, so sort of walking forwards a few steps, walking backwards a few steps, making your eights, noticing how that feels. Sometimes, depending on the person, moving in and out like this can really amplify and really enhance the potency and how well everything is weaved together. And certainly if you're someone, like I know lots of us are, that you feel quite empathic and sensitive, and you do feel that lots of the time you pick up energies. And some of the signs of that would be maybe if someone in your house or if someone you meet has got a cold and you always pick up that cold. And so any illness that's flying around, you'll pick it up. That's a sign your aura could use some more vitality and resilience. Or maybe you go to an environment like earlier I said, a cafe, or you go to the supermarket and afterwards you feel drained or just off somehow. I'll hear this from people fairly often, and that's another big sign that your aura could use some more balance. So if you think that might be you, then at some point when you've got a bit of a window, or you can make that window, carve out some time in your life, when you're going out to a busier place, take a good half an hour before you go to do lots of figure eights all around your aura. Put on some music that you love. It doesn't matter whether it's jazz or rock or classical, something that you love that's going to make you feel really good inside, that will make you tingle and happy, because that will be good for your radiant circuits. And enjoy the music and just move your body, dance to the eights, moving your body in eights, listening to the music. And doing that for longer will be just transformative for your aura. And see what difference it makes for you then. It might make a difference, it might not, but you won't know unless you give it a try. Okay, so we're going to go on to the radiant circuits now, beginning with belt flow. So reaching to the back and pulling the energy round and over 3 or 4 times, then picking up that energy smoothing down the side of your leg and off your foot, and then doing the other side. Now let's trace penetrating flow. So starting in the small of your back, penetrating flow begins at a point called the Ming Men, which is behind your belly button. And it can be really nice just to hold here. We won't stay here too long because I know for some people it's not always the most comfortable position to hold. And if that's you, by the way, you could bring in your visualization. You don't have to hold here for long at all. And then breathing in to begin tracing. When you breathe out, lowering over your tailbone. On the next breath in, coming up and over your hips and down to the pubic bone on the out breath. Then again, breathing in, coming up. As you breathe out, tracing some figure eights over your mouth. And this area is the end of penetrating flow. And this was the area that I spoke about one of the earlier days when we were together. And the piece as a reminder that I thought I'd share with you right now was that you can cover over your mouth, either in the field, like so, or you could actually place your hand on the mouth, on the surface of the body. And this can help so that you don't take things in if there's something happening that you don't want to take in. So the most common time that I do that is if I happen to be watching something on television and then something a little bit gory or gruesome or something comes on, which doesn't happen very often because I mostly watch comedies these days, but it's a great thing to know about. And actually, you might think of times in your life that maybe you've seen something or you've had some sudden news and you've gone, and you've covered your mouth naturally, because naturally and instinctively you balance your energies. Okay, before we go on to the bridge flows, take a moment to tune in and notice how you're feeling. Now for the in-bridge, this is the one that begins in the power point, the top of your neck, just like the Ming Men. So behind the belly button, Ming Men, and then the power point here. Two areas that are really nice to hold for longer. And you could try figure eight, spinning a crystal, spooning, different ways you can work with the energy if you'd like to. Now let's trace the in-bridge. So smoothing over the top of your head, holding for a breath on your forehead. And now coming down through the bridge of the nose onto your cheekbones, tapping here for a few seconds. And then lowering to the kidney points, an inch below the middle of your collarbone. And now let's trace 3 hearts. Radiant circuits, love hearts. Resting your hands on your tummy and smoothing the energy down your legs, all the way down and off your feet. Now let's trace the yang bridge. So horizontal 8, just allowing your hands to go back and forth. You could pick it up the speed a little bit, see what that's like. With all of these exercises, you can vary the speed that you do them, and that can make a difference. It can be incredibly potent often to really slow things down. So that's more likely to be the case than speeding up, but it's worth noting that for some people, doing things quickly can be really excellent. So try it different ways, play with the exercises and see what feels right for you. Now you've built up the column of these 8s, you can either visualize receiving them at your back or turn around now 180 degrees so that your back is facing all those 8s that you just created. Just taking a breath and noticing any sensations at the back of your body, all the way down the back from head to toe. And we're going to do the connection now from the front to the back of the body. So figure 8. The more that you follow energy medicine, the more you will hear about figure 8s, because we're using them all the time to balance all sorts of things. Okay. Again, noticing how do you feel now, having traced your bridge flows. And we're going to do the regulator flows. So the yin regulator begins with a heart on a stick. And then coming down your arms, smoothing down the front of the body. Let's do yin regulator again. Just feels really right today. So noticing how it feels to go a second time. Being mindful of any signs in your body, maybe a sigh or a yawn or a tummy rumble, letting you know that energy is moving. If you ever find that you have a big yawn or tummy rumble on a particular exercise, that tells you, yes, the energy's moved. And that can be a clue as well that your energy's really needed it. So let's do the yang regulator, smoothing around your ears. And then arms again. And now smoothing all the way down the back of your body, continuing down the backs and sides of your legs and off the sides of your feet. And let's do the yang regulator a second time. Why not? These regulated flows are often needed. And for those of you who are more familiar with Chinese medicine and the meridians, I'll share with you one cool piece of info about the regulators is they help to regulate the meridians. So the yin regulator helps to regulate all the yin meridians. The yang regulator helps to regulate all the yang. So if you had a lot of issues, say with your yang meridian, small intestine, large intestine, stomach, gallbladder, then working with yang regulator more can actually help all those meridians. Now we'll do this wonderful vagus nerve exercise where you rest one hand on your lower belly with your thumb resting inside the belly button, just gently resting there. And then your other hand resting somewhere at your neck, anywhere at all that feels comfortable, where you can relax and hold for a minute or so. And continuing to be mindful with your breath, noticing how you're feeling as your vagus nerve energy is balanced. And as you hold here, I'm going to speak a little bit of light language. Wanakukia. Siatia. Kata. Si. Go. Kusania. Shekia. Tuka. Shi. Soke. Se. Sa. Ukata. Si. So. Sa. Usha. Tiana. Tuka. Sisio. Kia. Chukia. Ya. Siopatka. Shikia. Chukia. Suka. Unia. Sipotia. Chukia. Sa. Uchioshiania. Uanasa. Uanaso. Uanasia. Shiana. Uakasia. Uana. Notice how you are feeling and take one or more deep breaths. And if your eyes are closed, opening them when you are ready. And let's see what the Sacred Rebel deck has as wisdom for each of us today. Okay, well, this is just beautiful, as always. I really do love this deck. And check out my email. I made a note in the email for some of you who have asked. It's a lady called Alana Fairchild, Alana with an A, who has created this deck. And the message today that I share with you is seeing the true you. So, taking a moment to really look at this picture. Look at each area, not just this lady, but also where she is sitting, what's behind her. And what might it mean for you as you go on for the rest of today to think, seeing the true you. Okay, so I hope you have a fantastic day full of fun and rest if that feels right for you. And we're about halfway through now. So let's keep going. Let's see what can happen. What can we achieve in our energies when we're really regular with balancing all these different areas? And what new habits might you be able to create? So stick with me for the next 10 days or so. And the recordings are on YouTube if that's helpful. Take care. See you tomorrow.